All right. Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am super excited, so I'm going to try to hold back a little bit. but we've got some great people here to help co-present with myself. We're going to be talking about a brand new product that we're going to be launching for 2025 here at EcoPrintQ. And I couldn't be happier about the partner that we've chose, that we're going to be working with, and the product that we're going to be bringing to our eco partners in the EcoPrintQ channel. So really, really exciting. It is, as of right now, about 11:59 here local time. That's Mountain Standard. So I'm going to give it just another minute or two for those of you who are joining and getting ready to hop on, and then we will get ready to get started. So I'm going to give it just another, like I said, 1 to 2 minutes, and we'll get this party started for you guys. As a heads up for everybody that's joining, we also have a chat that's going to be going. Paul is going to be monitoring that chat and letting me know from time to time if we have any pertinent questions, anything that's come up, some comments, requests, want to hear more. Lots of fun stuff that we'll be talking about. So feel free to throw any questions, comments, or anything you want to throw into that chat. Paul will keep an eye on that for me and let me know when we need to address those. And we'll be sure to, at the very end, if we didn't get a chance during the presentation itself, to surely cover those towards the end of this presentation. And for those of you who've had me speak for you before or do a presentation, you probably know I'm a little long-winded. So yeah, if we take it to the end, we'll absolutely do so. And I will do my best to keep this under an hour. So that's going to be my goal. I've got a timer that's set right here in my little go-to webinar box to keep me on track. And yeah, let's just give it another minute and we'll get started. And thank you, Paul. I see your team's message. So you're coming through loud and clear. All right. We got a lot of people joining in. This is exciting. Everyone, thank you so very, very much for joining us today. My name is Ross Wood, Business Development Manager here with EcoPrintQ. I've been around for almost 6 years now, been in the industry for almost 11. And so I'm really excited to have this opportunity to present to you a brand new product that we're going to be announcing here for EcoPrintQ. And I decided to change the title of this slide and go into this presentation because, in my opinion, this really is the most exciting thing that we're going to be announcing to our Eco Partner channel for 2025. So I hope that not only do you sit through this webinar, you learn a little bit about this and you hear what we have going on, but you also take the opportunity to bring this back to your leaders at your different businesses, right? So we have resellers of all types, shapes, and sizes, OEMs, copier resellers, IT and MSP managed providers. And this is going to be an opportunity for you to bring something back to your leadership and say, you know what? I think we found the next big thing. I think we found something that comes from a partner we already know and trust and gives us an opportunity to grow our revenue in different ways and to start growing streams of revenue that will carry for a very long time. So with that being said, I am very, very excited to announce that EcoPrintQ is officially adding and has added AuthX to the pricing portfolio. And this product is absolutely fantastic. So what is this product? It's identity and access management software. This is something that you're going to have the opportunity to talk to your customers about and to really engage in a different way than we have in the past. You know, in the years to come, or years past is what I should say, in the years past, we've traditionally focused on things that relate to copiers and printers, the management of those devices, the reporting of those devices, really enhancing the user experience. But it also tied a lot to security. And identity and access management software is a pivot. It's a pivot away from the traditional focus on printers and copiers and being able to do something that kind of ties back to the age-old, we've all said this, box selling, right? We're all trying to help our resellers to be able to sell more boxes, more copiers, more devices, because that's the bulk of the revenue in a lot of the deals. Well, with AuthX, we're providing an opportunity for you to pivot as well. So let's jump right into it. So let's start off with what is identity and access management software, especially for those of you who aren't as maybe familiar with this type of platform. So an identity and access management software is a solution that's used to enhance security. It's used to control user access and manage digital identities. This prevents unauthorized users really from being able to get on the network in the first place. You know, some of the key highlights, some of the key things that you'll think about when looking at an identity and access management platform are features like single sign-on, multi-factor authentication, and really a hot term that's come about here in the last couple of years is passwordless access. Rather than having to manage complex passwords for users and then users having to remember all of these complex passwords with all of these rules and policies, you've got an asterisk, you need a special character, you need a number, you need uppercase, you need lowercase, right? There's a lot that goes into just managing the passwords themselves. We could spend an hour talking about that. But what that has led to, right, is when it comes to identity and access management platforms like AuthX, is providing a solution where you don't have to use passwords for everything you're logging into. And it's really just a terminology that says, hey, we're going to make the end user's life a little bit easier. We're going to make their access into platforms that you manage, such as something as simple as Salesforce, email, something that is pertinent to their particular industry, right? So if they have a software that they log into every day to be able to track and monitor opportunities, to track and monitor customers, clients, things they're working on, projects, you name it, right? There's going to be a platform that is a niche to every industry. And that's where this provides a ton of upside, is being able to provide that passwordless access into these different back-end systems. And you want to improve that network security, right? And all of this stems from the fact that cyber threats have only grown exponentially in the last decade or so, right? Everything from ransomware, cyber attacks, just trying to get on the network. And really, I'd say over 80% of the time, it still starts with someone getting a password. They're trying to send phishing emails. They're sending social media stuff now, trying to get them on social media platforms to respond and interact and say, you know, hey, here's a gift card for Amazon, $25, click here. And, oh, by the way, your manager has sent you an email saying you need to update your password, right? They're getting much more clever in trying to do things to make it look like it's someone within the organization, like an IT administrator, like a boss, a manager, an owner, saying, hey, everybody, I need help. I'm out of the office today. Can you log into the system for me and get me said information? Oh, and by the way, we're asking everybody to update their passwords due to security concerns, right? So they've gotten much, much more clever in terms of how they go after different industries and different businesses to try to get that one user's password to find that foot in the door. So customers buy identity and access management software for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, strengthen security and reduce risk. I was just mentioning how in a lot of cases there's phishing attacks, there's spam, there's social media, there's all of these different vectors in which they use to go after users within an organization, and they're going to hit everybody, right? They're trying to hit the entire organization, not just the people at the top. As soon as they find one person's credentials, they've got a foot in the door, and they kind of branch out from there. So security and reducing risk is primarily the forefront of mind when customers are looking at something like this. But there's also other driving factors, such as compliance and regulations. HIPAA, NIST, GDPR, DSS. I could go on and on with acronyms. I don't think that will get us anywhere. I think the point is that across all of these different industries, you're going to find that there's rules, regulations, guidelines, and compliance standards that are pushing these businesses to having to do more. Yes, it's great to have a complex password and requirements, but then that becomes cumbersome to you and your users. That becomes cumbersome to your processes. People nowadays can easily spend 45 minutes a day just on logging in and out of different applications. Imagine the cost implications that can have on any industry, on any organization. But that brings me to the next point. Security and talking to the IT administrators is one sales path. But I think another opportunity to talk to your different customer environments is simplifying the user access. Single sign-on means I log in once, and once I've logged in, I have access to all of my different applications, everything that's pertinent to me and my ability to do my job. Well, we can do that. Even if we're adding layers of multi-factor authentication to make it more complicated for a cyber attack to take place, we can still simplify the overall access to the users. Another really big driver and something that's come up is, of course, the hybrid and remote work environments. More and more people are working from home. Hell, VDI has made quite the comeback, right? If you think back to 10, 15 years ago, VDI was something then, and it kind of faded. And all of a sudden, with all these cybersecurity risks and cyber attacks and ransomware, companies have found that VDI is a great solution to protect themselves in certain ways. And so VDI comes back. And when you have remote and hybrid work environments, VDI works for those in terms of limiting the scale of a breach. And of course, complex IT environments. There's so much that's happening in any given industry, whether it's a bank, it's a healthcare, it's a government, it's a typical commercial office, right? There's so much that goes into managing that. Why not help make that a little bit easier in terms of what access looks like? And of course, all of this leads to the same path that we are all on, which is digitalization, making things a little bit more digital friendly for the everyday end user. Now, a couple of key statistics, and this obviously helps to make the compelling reason why AuthX and why identity and access management software should be a part of your sales reps' everyday talk track, and why they should be talking about this with their customers. You know, $10.5 trillion is nothing to shake a stick at. That is the estimated cost of cybercrime globally today, right? And if you were to go and look at those maps, if you've ever seen one where it shows the lines being drawn from where attacks are coming from and where they are going, there's a bunch of cool ones out there. You will see that a ton of that activity is driven towards the United States, right? It goes to plenty of other states or other places as well. But it is no secret that North America as a whole, right, from Canada down and all the way through South America, we are all part of the risk of being a victim of cyber attack and ransomware. And 81% of confirmed breaches were due to weak, reused, or stolen passwords. So you've put a policy in place that says, hey, you need to have an uppercase character, lowercase character, a special character, a number, all of these different things. But we're all guilty of doing the same thing. I know I do. I reuse the same passwords across many different platforms, including personal ones and work-related ones. I like using the same passwords because that's a convenience to me. You know, we're all people here. At the end of the day, we all have passwords. We all do this. I guarantee you, if we were in a room together right now, looking at each other face to face, I could say, show of hands, how many of you use the same password for both personal and professional reasons? And 90% of the room would raise their hand because it's easier to remember. It's easier to do. And we don't want to spend a ton of time resetting up passwords every time we forget one. And I wish my wife was here so I could pick on her because the amount of times that she's done it and all the variations of the same password she's used, she can't even keep up with it anymore. And it's one of those things that we're seeing across all the different industries. So this opportunity brings us to AuthX. So why does EcoPrintQ choose AuthX? And it's for two different reasons, right? You got to look at it from two sides of the house, the product itself and the people. You got to have a great product that is, proven, that is trusted, that is advanced, modern, that provides what end users need. But you also need a good company with good people to work with. And that's what we found with AuthX, is they weren't only producing and creating and developing a great product, by the way, that's cloud-based, easy to use, easy to deploy, but it also came with good people to support this. And when it comes to the Eco Partner channel, for most of you out there, you probably don't know what all goes into us selecting a new partner, a new product to onboard. But to put it easily, we're primarily known for about 4 or 5 solutions. And EcoPrintQ has been an authorized solution center, a go-to software distribution company for over 10 years. And we're still looking at primarily 5 products that we promote and talk about. That's by design. It's because we like to focus on what works well for our partners. So it was no coincidence that when we came to looking at AuthX and we found that they not only had a great product but had great people to work with, that we wanted to bring them into the portfolio and bring them to the channel. So AuthX, cloud-based, scalable, and customer-focused, results-driven. And they've been doing this for over 4 years. So this is nothing new to them as well. Now, another reason why we wanted to look at AuthX is the flexibility. We're not just talking about tap of the badge. We're not just talking about biometrics. When it comes to authentication, all major forms are supported. So one-time passwords where you get a text sent to the phone with a little PIN code that you can enter, that's supported. Tap and go, right? Probably the most widely known use case when it comes to authentication software is, hey, tap of the badge or tap of the key fob and you're logged in. Single sign on to your different applications. What about facial recognition, fingerprint, phone, text, a push notification that goes to an app installed on the phone, right? All of these different variables are supported. And this is why I'm really excited to be able to bring AuthX to the table. And I'm going to let them talk a little bit more about this. I did bring a couple of guests into today's webinar presentation. So let me shift a little bit here. And rather than talking more about the product, because I know they're going to do a great job, I want to talk about why every single person here in this webinar and anyone who watches this recording should be super, super excited. First and foremost, it's no secret, right? It's no secret that companies, in terms of the space that we work in, our channel, the eco partners that we support today, have been diversifying their portfolio. When it comes to diversifying your business and offerings, AuthX is a great fit, right? And it's no secret that many copier dealers that did the traditional model of selling and supporting copiers, printers, managed print services have already transitioned to managed services, to IT sales, to cloud-based solutions like Office 365 and different things like that to enhance the offering that your everyday sales rep can go in with, right? So they walk into customer environment XYZ, and we no longer just want them talking about the copiers and printers, right? 10 years ago, when I first started the industry, it was, hey, Ross, don't be a box salesman. Make sure that you talk about all of the solutions that will sell the box for you. So scanning solutions, print management solutions, cloud-based solutions, right? That was the talk of the town. That was what we did to help drive the sale, especially in bigger environments. Then it became, well, what else can we do, right? We're already talking to them about their copiers, their printers. We're already on their network. What else could we do on their network? And slowly but surely, in a windy, curvy road, we found ourselves offering things like managed services, IT services, break-fix services, but also monitoring, right? We will monitor all the computers on your network. We'll let you know when something's happening that shouldn't be happening. Then it turned into, hey, when it comes to network security and how you can handle Office 365, we'll sell you that as well. So it's no secret that this has been happening. And for partners who have already begun selling these IT services, or even if you primarily focus on IT and you're like, hey, I don't even hardly deal with the copiers as much. It's nice when we sell them, but for us, we are an MSP. We focus on IT. This complements your already ongoing initiative and portfolio. This complements your sales reps' everyday talk track. This gives them something else to talk about to not only be exciting, to be different, but to also be of a service. Knowing that there's so much cybersecurity threats going on and the passwords, and we can make the end user's life easier, IT management's life easier, this is the perfect complementary solution. And for every EcoPrintQ partner on this call, I cannot stress this enough. Every single partner who has ever sold PaperCut has already sold secure authentication. If you're selling PaperCut where users have to walk up and do tap of the badge, they do a username password. Let's face it, most people don't do that. They do a PIN code, a user ID code to log into the copier where they then print, they then scan, they then have access to a device on the network. That device happens to be a copier. You already have sales rep who can sell AuthX and who will successfully be able to talk about this. You already have customers who are buying in to secure authentication. Every single one of your PaperCut customers is an opportunity. You know why? There's a chance that when you sold them PaperCut, and let's take the example of the badge tap access at the copier. The chances are they liked that because they were doing badge tap access at the door. They might have also been doing badge tap access at other things besides the door, right? The computers themselves. And that's where AuthX's focus is when it comes to computer workstations. So we're shifting, right? The only shift that a sales rep or a sales solution specialist would have to do is to shift the focus of secure authentication at the copier to secure authentication at the workstation, at the computer, at the laptop. That's where AuthX is, and that's the pivot that I'm so excited about. And this pivot comes with a lot of low-hanging fruit for our partner channel. You could literally look at your list of customers for PaperCut and say, every single one of these is an opportunity. How do we start the conversation? Hey, Mr. Customer, we know a couple years ago you'd bought PaperCut and you loved all the security features. You loved that it gave users a roaming profile experience. You loved that you're locking down devices on your network. Wouldn't you like to do the same thing for your computers? That's it. It doesn't have to be overly complicated. Simple questions for your reps can lead to large amounts of revenue for you as a business. And by the way, the opportunities in this space are endless. Healthcare, government, education, finance and banking, manufacturing, energy and utilities. There is not a single partner on this call or that will watch the recording of this video that doesn't have a customer in one of these spaces. Not a single one. And all of these provide opportunities for you to go in and take that same talk track, whether it's, hey, they were a current or are a current PaperCut customer, they were interested in it, or even if you just have a ton of customers with no PaperCut at all, and they happen to fall into one of these verticals or any vertical, if they use badge access for door access, that shows their interest in security. That shows their interest in secure authenticated solutions. If they did go a step further and provided secure access at the copier level, heck, even if it wasn't PaperCut, man, I know there's other products out there. Maybe you sold them something else. At the end of the day, if you have sales reps that can convince someone to do badge access at the copier, I'm just going to say this quite frankly. I'll be damned if that same sales rep can't go into any one of their other customer environments and sell them on secure authentication at the computer level. It's much more high risk. It's much more vulnerable. And there's so much that goes into the everyday logging in and logging out for end users that if we can make their life easier, they are going to be happier too. Like I started using this and I can't express how much I love just walking up and tapping a badge to get in my computer. If I don't have a card reader plugged in, I can use my phone to log in. And nowadays your phone goes with you everywhere. So the opportunities are endless. And even more importantly, if you're a business principal, if you're the owner, if you're the manager, and you have quotas and goals for your team that you've put in place to make sure that the longevity of your business is sustained, that you're getting that year-over-year growth that you're targeting. This is the perfect product to introduce to hit those goals and targets, to be able to drive additional sales and revenue. And that can be cross-selling with current customers that you also currently have, but it can also be selling to customers that you don't have today, getting you a foot in the door for other things that you would like to be able to provide and talk about, especially if you do already sell and promote IT and managed services. At the end of the day, selling printers and copiers, it's a great market, ton of revenue, ton that can be done. Selling managed services and IT, same thing. But do not miss out on this opportunity to diversify your offerings and grow that revenue. And really for me, like I think back when I was a sales rep, if someone would have brought this to me, I would have been super excited to go and talk about it. And this is an opportunity for you to get your sales reps excited as well. If you feel like you've been talking the same things, doing the same things, and it's getting a little stale, a little stagnant, let's shake things up a little bit. Let's introduce AuthX. And speaking of which, that's exactly what I'd like to do. I'd love to introduce you guys to a couple of people that we have on here today that are from AuthX to talk a little bit more about this, right? So without further ado, I want to introduce to you Bob Kraus and Shreyas Swami. Bob being the VP of Sales and Shreyas being the Director of Product Engineering are two key pivotal partners of ours that have helped me with this product launch and are going to help us to see success in the launch of this product here in 2025. So Bob, Shreyas, why don't you introduce yourselves, give us a little bit of your background, and tell us a little bit more about AuthX. And I'll be ready to click to the next slide when you tell me to.
Thanks, Ross. It's great to meet everybody. Excited to work with you. I come from a background of 7 years at Citrix and 17 years at Symantec. Really excited about the opportunity we're presenting to you, and I think it's a innovative way for you guys to capture a larger share of wallet with your customers because it's already taking place. Customers are looking at ways to reduce threats, modernize, in many cases, just get rid of passwords. So I'm super excited to have Shreyas join me. He's been with the company since it was founded. If you could say hello, Shreyas, and then we'll click forward from there, Ross.
Hey everyone, nice to meet all of you and introducing you to AuthX and the passwordless platform.
Fantastic.
You want to take it forward there, Ross?
Yep, you got it.
So what you're experiencing today when folks are using a badge to access PaperCut is a form of identity and access management. Every one of you are using this today in your personal banking, right? When you log into B of A or Wells Fargo or your checking account, they're most likely sending you some sort of PIN to your phone. That's multi-factor authentication. What we're doing is we're enabling customers to eliminate passwords. We're making it simple. We're making it secure. The entire market's become heavily dependent upon information as the currency, right? So if you've got access to somebody's account, you've got access to everything, right? So the information is the key, and we're here to protect it. Healthcare is looking for ways, and other industries that are regulated like finance, manufacturing, education, law enforcement, retail. You have shared devices. You know, it's not unusual to go into manufacturing or a retail environment and see multiple people sharing a password and log into a system. That's not secure. Really, what you want to know is Bob in that system, is Ross in that system, or is Shreyas in that system, or somebody else? And you want to have unique qualifiers to help the company understand who's there. If you're in an emergency room, you've got 10 or 11 personnel in a room delivering care at the speed of light to help save lives. And really what they don't want to do is be typing in passwords. In healthcare, there's a trend where the passwords are getting longer and longer and longer. The longer the password, the more prone they are to being misplaced or forgotten. So you have doctors or clinicians or nurses coming back from vacation or continued education, and they can't remember their 18 or 24 letter password. It's just too much, right? So companies want to go passwordless. We're working with a very large Fortune 100 company and demoing them tomorrow at a CISO, CIO level. They have 8,000 employees. They are a software company that delivers virtualized infrastructure for the Fortune 1000. They're talking to us because they want to eliminate passwords entirely. We were talking with a large health organization in Houston yesterday, and this applies for all industries, but they said that they have doctors and nurses logging in 60 to 100 times a day, right? One of the major organizations in the West Coast is running somewhere around 2,500 to 3,000 password resets per month at a loss of 45 minutes per shift. really what you're doing is you're looking at this and saying, if we can eliminate passwords and offer multi-factor authentication, we could speed up the delivery of care. That's, you could do more office visits with a nurse. You could have better manufacturing protocol. You're more secure. You're more regulated. We're not in an era where we can actually share passwords and logins anymore, especially in manufacturing and stuff. Go ahead, jump ahead there, Ross. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, Bob, you brought up something that I meant to touch on a few slides back. So in a couple of these industries, you're going to find opportunities of all shapes and sizes. I think it's important we touch a little bit on some of the potential revenue that these dealers could see implementing a solution like AuthX, right? Whether it's the tap and go, it's, we're just focusing on passwordless, multi-factor authentication, single sign-on, right? Could you give a couple of examples of, like, take that medium-sized healthcare entity that you'd mentioned, with a couple thousand users.
Sure.
What's the kind of revenue that a dealer could see from a deal like that?
Yeah, so for every 100 users that are involved in an infrastructure project like this, you're typically going to see somewhere between 8 to 10K annual recurring revenue. So when you get up to 1,000 users, you're probably talking somewhere between 80 and 110K, depending on the industry and the format of what we're delivering. And that just goes on and on. So once this is deployed, this is really secure SaaS revenue for your organization that is kind of a revenue flywheel. And for you as sellers, I would be looking at this in a couple of different ways, right? You're delivering the capabilities of print. You're doing managed services. What a great way for you to cross-train and upskill your career and make a bunch of money doing it, because you're already in these organizations. They're already working through these opportunities. In the world of tap and go, you see a badge there where we've got a card reader that says AuthX, and the person's basically tapping their badge just like a doctor or clinician would, walking into a delivery environment, and that basically logs them in. That's it, right? So it's a prox card. So what you're enabling your client to do is be more efficient, be more secure, right? When you get multi-factor authentication and SSO, that's a PIN, that's a biometric, that's a facial, that's a fingerprint, that's any sort of unique identifier that would give you a secondary authorization. But the amount of money involved here is huge. Healthcare is a great example where this is one of the most regulated and demanding environments. The big, beautiful bills delivered a lot of complexity for healthcare. The uncertainty of funding has made it difficult. Even the largest, best run organizations are either break even or running at a small loss. So if you can go in there and help them understand how they can modernize and remove passwords from their environment, you're saving them time while they make an investment in a very secure technology that they've been wanting to move forward with for years. We're seeing environments with Epic where at least 40 to 45% of the healthcare organizations, which are typically the medium to small, when I say medium, that's a 4,000, 5,000 doctor clinician delivery environment. We're seeing half of those clients are still running passwords. So they're waiting to be modernized to be introduced to something like AuthX. We have an incumbent in the healthcare space that has run unchecked for 10 years as a monopoly. It's on-prem, it's hardware, it's got rigid management interfaces. It's extremely costly to the point where you can't even imagine that. So when we go into the healthcare space or these other environments, we're running right into an audience that is excited to hear that there's another choice and be introduced to something that would deliver a cloud native experience at better functionality at a much more attractive price point that they can modernize around. So this is a conversation you want to go have. And we're here to let you know that it's going to be safe and something you can do with AuthX. We're on a tear with our technology in the spaces that we operate, and it's all across any of the regulated industries: healthcare, finance, education, manufacturing, retail, you name it. So
Bob, we're talking about secure authentication, and we're talking about it with computer workstations, laptops, being able to do this badge tap and go. All of these different industries with regulations around them, and including, like, there's one for police force, right? Like CJIS has come out. So if you work with state and local government, there's an opportunity to have conversations there. On the small end, I think we could say, even if you only had 25, 50 users, and one of our first opportunities that we worked on with a partner was for exactly that. It's about 70 users in total. And it was with the state and local government. And even that first deal, when we added the card readers and everything, we are looking at over $50,000 of revenue for that initial sell. And then you have the reoccurring revenue coming from the SaaS model, right? It's a cloud-based SaaS model solution, easy to talk about. On the high end, what would you say is on the high end for some of the deals that you guys have been involved in?
So on the high end, you'll see organizations, and AuthX has some really great clients, whether it's University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, Guthrie, Geisinger, Hackensack, Loma Linda, Watson Clinic. You're going to see deals that approach 7 figures or higher, right? And so the size of the environment is pretty interesting. When you talk to somebody like a Providence or a Multicare or Christus Health or some of these organizations that are pretty good size, or NYU, you're probably talking $5 million plus, right? So I just want to give you a size of the opportunity. And the way these clients work, there's lots of infrastructure to protect. And so in some cases, we've earned our way into a good sized project, and I call it just a single. But the client's like, hey, we really like you. We can't go big bang with rolling out AuthX at this point in time. We still have a couple of years left on our contract with the other vendor, but we would like to deploy you in this environment, and you'll have a seat at the table working with our identity access management team, our chief medical information officers, our physicians, all the necessary people. And in that case, we're on deck, and we have a seat at the table to prove what we're doing to your customer, which is amazing. So if you see 1,000 seats, I'd call that $100,000. If I see 100 seats, I'd call it $10,000. If you see 10,000 seats, that's well north of $1 million. Our competitor would probably be 2x that cost, right? So you're walking into an environment and you're introducing and educating the customer on something that is cloud native, where your competitor is running on-prem hardware with rigid management interfaces. They're not able to reset passwords. It's complex, and it's super, super, super expensive. Okay. So I hate to sell on price because I'm a solution guy, but I'm gonna let you know, like, everybody we've talked to, they're like, wow, that's really cool. I'm so glad to know that you exist as an option and a choice. We look forward to working with you. So that's the kind of conversation we're having across, whether it's, government, education, manufacturing, finance, or healthcare. So
that's a really good point. And I love that you tied in the talk track around like the number of users, and as that goes up, the dollar obviously goes up. Another thing that you should be thinking about, and this is for everyone on the call today, is the more users a company has, the more risk that they carry, right? So the larger the environment, regardless of industry, the more opportunity for a cyber attack to take place in the first place, right? Because someone with 10 users, you're only doing a little bit of business, they still may be trying to come after you just to why not kind of thing, right? There's cyber attacks of all types. But the larger that your business is, the more well-known you are, the more opportunity for them to get an email and a password by phishing and spam emails and social engineered attacks. All of these things are really just designed to go after any and all industries. But as you look at your customer base and you think, who would I really want to talk to this about, especially in the early stages? As the number of users goes up, the opportunity for you not only goes up, but the need, the driving factor of why they would meet with you in the first place is going to increase exponentially with more and more users you find in that environment. And Bob, there's more to it than just the badge tap and go. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We offer what's that old movie, Different Strokes for Different Folks? So we offer all the major authentication factors that your client's looking for. Fast data online, which is lower right, SMS with one-time password, hardware token, software quote token, mobile push, biometric, RFID with the readers. That's basically what you're currently doing with most of your clients with PaperCut, biometric, face, one-time call, PIN. But make no mistake, if you really think about what is here, right, SMS, that's basically what you're doing when you're logging into your checking account or your bank. You're already doing that. So just project through this and think about, hey, I'm going to move from selling PaperCut solutions to identity access management. What a great opportunity. I always look at these big pivots in my career and say, I'm so glad I put myself in that position to take advantage of that opportunity. This is unique for all of you. It's unique in the sense that AuthX has got terrific technology and the solutions and the support and infrastructure. Every one of our clients is a reference. Second, you're pivoting your career into doing identity access management. This is going to look great on your LinkedIn profile. It's going to look great in your banking account when you close a bunch of deals. And it's going to look great in your resume. It's something you can leverage going forward. But every one of these things up here is a form of authentication method. Face, you're doing that right now, probably going into your iPhone and some of your applications. Or saying, would you like to allow your camera to verify your identity? You're like, yes, I'd like to get in faster. Done. So you're already doing this stuff. So think about it in those metrics and concepts. So it doesn't look like, oh, wow, this is a whole new thing I got to figure out. You're already doing it. Let's jump forward one more, Ross.
Oop.
Okay. Oh, there we go. So look, we can talk about the difference. The most important is we're cloud native. So we're built on Azure infrastructure, right? So people go, what's your resilience and uptime? And I'm like, well, it's the same as Azure, right? So we have multiple authentication methods. We're built on open standards. We have customer first innovation. That means we prioritize our customer needs. We have all the existing capabilities to support readers, infrastructure. We're simple to deal with. You can imagine that the incumbent that we're running into is not cloud-based. It's on-prem, it's hardware. It requires very rigid authentication methods. They aren't customer first. They have very expensive requirements to do business with. They have rigid management interfaces and all the other stuff. So it's not inclusive pricing. It's not simple. So let's jump forward. I want Shreyas to have a little time on the microphone here to talk about the integration because we touch everything. We have to work with everybody.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, you've been doing a great job covering all the capabilities of AuthX. So at AuthX here, like we are trying to bring in agility into identity. So we are trying to work across all the cloud platforms, like Bob was mentioning. We are Azure hosted, but we are capable of hosting the same in AWS or Google Cloud as well. And we have integrated with most of the virtualization partners here. So we work with Citrix, we work with AVD, Parallels, Omnissa, and we are adding the newer technologies as well. And for the platforms, we've seen a raise in many of the enterprise browsers. So we are working closely with Island. We work closely with Google Enterprise Premium, and we are coming out with authentication into all the applications which are hosted within the enterprise browsers as well. And the majority of our customers are hosted on like either they use Windows, Mac OS, IGEL, or Chrome OS. So we support all the major operating systems. We have all the authentication factors that Bob mentioned a couple of slides back to get into a secure workstation or secure environment. And we support multiple, for the healthcare front, we are integrated with major EMRs and EHRs such as Epic, Cerner, Athena, and Allscripts. And we work closely with Epic to support all their existing workflows for single sign-on, EPCS, and others. And we are coming out with support for our mobile platforms with AuthX Secure using Redford and Datamation docs as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, Shreyas, that was really well said. And I think the big thing to take from this slide, right, there's a lot that's on here. And there's a lot that can be done with a solution like AuthX. It's flexible, it's nimble. If you run into a situation that hasn't been heard of or done before, Shreyas and the team, have encouraged that, they are customer driven, results driven. So bring the opportunities, get the questions, get customers engaged. And we at EcoPrintQ are going to do like we always have. We're going to do pre-sale support, post-sale support. We're going to help with the engagement with the customers, discovery calls. Your ability to take this product to the market will be the same as your ability to take PaperCut to the market. You're going to have us there to help hold your hands. And when we hit a point that we say, hey, this is rather interesting. This is something unique. We have the ability to bring in Shreyas, to bring in the AuthX team, and to see what they can do to make sure that it works well for that particular customer environment. And they're a fantastic team to work with. So Shreyas, really appreciate that. And thank you. Before I move on, I just want to make sure if anybody had any questions or anything that had popped up so far. I don't know if, Paul, you've seen anything on your end?
Hey, Ross, I'm just going to add that there's always something new to test with, right? Whether it's Control Up or Nerdio or Dell Wise, you name it. Because we're built on open standards, it's not complex. It's not a big lift. So if you see something or run into something you want to talk about and say, is this a possibility? Reach out to your channel manager. They'll get a hold of us and we'll talk about it and we'll frame it up. But because you may see or run into something you don't see on the slide, don't worry about it. Bring it forward. We're opportunity based. It's amazing what we can do quickly because we're a company that's focused on delivering on open standards. So back to you, Ross.
Thank you. And I did just notice one question that came through, and that is Meditech a technology partner by any chance?
Yes.
Very good. So Jay, Meditech is a technology partner that could be supported with this as well. Great question.
Yeah, we run into Meditech, we run into Cerner, we run into NextGen, all those. If they have SAML, which is one of the open standards, it's a piece of cake.
Absolutely. And when I look at this, the one thing I will point out for all of our partners who are listening to this as well, real quick, before I transition to the next piece is, you might be thinking, hey, with Microsoft, when I log into my computer, I get single sign-on, right? Teams opens up, Outlook opens up. What else, right? Your email, your different things that are part of that Microsoft platform. And a lot of customers have that experience as well. They've encouraged it, promoted it, and pushed it. But then you start thinking about all the other things that someone has to do in their day-to-day. So when it's healthcare, it's the EMR system. When it's a law firm, it's their legal software, their client billing software. When it's a school, it could be their Google Chrome platform. When it's, you name it, there's lots of niche, industry-specific software solutions that they need single sign-on for, that while Microsoft does a great job of getting you all into all of the Microsoft-based applications, what about everything else outside of that? And every industry has that niche solution. Heck, when it comes to CJIS and COPS and compliance and them being able to log in to see criminal background history, whatever platform they use for that, right? That is another opportunity to talk about things. And there was another question that's posted, so I'm going to go ahead and read that one out loud, which is, what about Medit, Allscripts, and MedSuite?
Wow, great ones. I'm going to let Shreya speak to that.
All scripts, they are hosted within Citrix. So we are able to authenticate with Citrix, so that will get passed on. But as long as the other two EMRs support any kind of standards, like Bob mentioned, either SAML, OIDC, OAuth, or even like we support RPA, robotic process automation, where we can do a credential fill. So we should be able to support the single sign-on.
Great answer. We got another one that came through. I'm going to read out loud as well. Being cloud native, how are client offline scenarios accounted for?
So we have local caches in the workstation that complement for offline logon, and we pass that on the tokens back to the web applications and the thick client applications for single sign-on.
That's a great point. And I did want to point out with that cache and what can be done. Shreyas, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's good for up to 30 days. Is it not?
Yes, and that again is a configurable option. The max that we allow is 30. The least you can do is 6 hours.
Awesome. So someone goes offline, as small as 6 hours, we can keep that cache and use that for the login and authentication, but we can also do as much as 30 days of offline, which I actually ran into a scenario when I was traveling, cross country, went to Italy and brought my laptop with me. One thing that we didn't even point out is you can even limit where users can gain access from. So if you're to say, hey, as long as the person is showing as being in the United States and Canada, they're showing as being in Brazil or Peru, or even out of Italy or the UK or anywhere in Western European, you can limit the places that are allowed to process authentication on that local laptop that is traveling with the person. Very good. Thank you, Shreyas, for that. Thank you, guys, for posting those questions. So now for the really fun part. How do we get this in the portfolio? I'm excited. I'm ready to talk about it. I want to bring this back to my boss. I want to bring this back to my team, my sales reps. What do we do? First and foremost, you should always be looking to reach out to the channel manager. Your channel manager is your go-to resource for all things EcoPrintQ, whether it's PaperCut, AuthX, Umango, or any of our products that we carry. Once your channel manager is engaged, they can help you to get onboarded with AuthX software. And if you're not sure who to reach out to, and I just want to do a nice little plug-in because our marketing team did a great job of updating our webpage, be sure to check out ecoprintq.com/channel team. This is where you can find an interactive map where you can quite literally select on the area that you live in, and you can see the different channel managers that support the different states. And based on that, you can easily be able to identify who you should reach out to. Another thing that I want to point out here is that if you have a customer in mind, if you have something you just want to ask more questions about, you want to drive around either an opportunity, a customer, or just general thoughts around the product, you can always reach out to solutions@ecoprintq.com as well, and we'll be sure to get back to you and schedule a meeting and even help you to get connected with your channel manager, should you not be sure who they are. We also have an updated reseller agreement. So after this webinar has concluded, we will be sending out a digital package. That digital package should be within the first couple of days and gives you a ton of material to look over, to review, salesy material, all that fun stuff. But it'll also give you the opportunity to review this and say, hey, you know what? We do want to go ahead and move forward. There's no minimums. There's no certification requirements. There's no gotchas. It's just simply saying we as a reseller want to onboard AuthX into our portfolio from EcoPrintQ. And with that, we can get you more access, right? We can talk about NFR access. We can talk about trials for customers. We can talk about next steps. All that's needed is a reseller agreement saying that you want to onboard this product into your portfolio and you can start selling AuthX today. But don't hesitate waiting on a reseller agreement. If you have that opportunity, reach out to solutions, plural, at ecoprintq.com, and we'll be happy to engage and support you. And maybe we let that first opportunity dictate whether you do the reseller agreement. Not a problem at all. We do have some links, and this webinar slide deck, the PowerPoint presentation that we use today, I'm going to be sure to share this out as part of that digital package. You'll see that coming from our marketing team. I do want to give a shout out to our marketing team for doing such a great job of not only helping me to do a successful product launch, but for all things EcoPrintQ relative to getting the information out to our channel and for helping to get that digital package put together that we're going to send out. Be sure to check out the landing page. There's some cool stuff there. We have www.ecoprintq.com/AuthX, and that's where you can find a ton more content and information. You can even request a trial there. We also have a blog post that announced this partnership. We did an interview with industry analysts, Andy, Dominic, myself, and Jeremy from AuthX all got together and did a fantastic interview talking about the importance of this for our channel partners. And I mentioned this once already, just going to say it one last time. Questions, concerns, comments, want to hear more, anything you're not sure of and you don't know who your channel manager is and want to reach out, please reach out to solutions@ecoprintq.com. I want to thank everybody for spending the time today. And if you're looking to book that one-on-one meeting with your channel manager and you would like to include myself on that meeting, why don't you go ahead and scan this QR code, which will take you to a bookings page. And on that bookings page, you'll be able to go ahead and set aside some time, whether you want to do 30 minutes or an hour, completely up to you. We'd be happy to have a one-on-one session where we answer all your questions. We get a little bit deeper into AuthX and all the great things that it can do. And on that note, Bob, Shreyas, I want to say a huge thank you for being part of this.
Thanks for having us, Ross and EcoPrintQ. We're excited about the opportunity of working with you, and we see nothing but blue sky and upside for your team to jump in and take advantage of this opportunity. We think it's very, very timely given the market dynamics and where we are positioned uniquely to help you guys.
Thank you, Bob. And for everybody, as you get ready to drop off, my closing statement: do not miss out on this wonderful opportunity to grow your revenue, to change your positioning with your customers, and to expand on your offerings and get your sales reps super excited. AuthX will do that for you. Thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic rest of your week and an even better weekend.